Hey y'all, it's Pleasure Maker here at the WorldArts Stage. And when you get a chance, check them out at worldarts.com. You can do a profile and support the art, support music. So my name is Pleasure Maker, as already stated, and AKA Joe McGuire, my given name. And basically, I started in music pretty much as a youth. Um, just a little kid, loving to sing. My mom played the piano around the house. My parents played vinyl records, actual records, and I just love to sing. My siblings and I love to sing, and then I was always writing, drawing, writing as a little kid. But eventually, I decided, wow, I should pick up an instrument and write some songs. So I started doing that around 13, 14, and then for ever since then, it's just been on. Been focusing on the grind, working on it, and learning new instruments all the time, writing music, learning the technology so that I can produce, and eventually got into DJing, doing the radio in college, and from there, it's just been one thing leading to the next. So it's been around 20 years working professionally and loving every second of it. So some of my influences are there's a large range, but Fela Kuti is one that comes to mind instantly because I love the way that he injected life into art and art into life, and he stood up to the system with his music, much like Bob Marley and Peter Tosh, and he just believed in the spirit of humanity, so he fought with that music. But like him, James Brown, he got a lot of his influence from James Brown, that deep funk and soul. Curtis Mayfield is one of my all-time musical heroes. Sly and the Family Stone, a band about unity and soul and also about what's going on in the world, but keeping it happy, keeping it upbeat and uplifting. I've always loved Ray Charles, growing up listening to Ray Charles, even Frank Sinatra, some of the old school big band singers, Billie Holiday, people that can just evoke so much emotion in their music and in their sound. And I also love Jamaican music a lot. Lee Scratch Perry, a super innovative producer, songwriter who worked with Bob Marley and the Wailers. And of course, those guys, the Wailers, incredible songwriters and musicians. And then, yeah, a long list of jazz musicians, soul musicians. Gil Scott Heron, great poet. I love a lot of Latin music. People like Tito Puente, Cachao, Cal Jader, Ray Barreto, all these folks from around the middle of the 20th century that just opened up Latin music and mixed it with jazz and funk and just, yeah, all the music of the Afro diaspora. It's pretty broad. That's what influenced me with this whole DJ kind of mentality. So in terms of my live set versus DJ set, there's a lot of crossover influence, but at the same time, when I DJ, I like the fact that I can mix all the different eras of time together. I use electronic and modern production and music in my sound, but I'm so heavily influenced by the old school organic flavors from the pre-80s era. So I'll just jump historically from all these different eras when I DJ, and I definitely all over the globe. There's that African, Latin, Jamaican, Caribbean influence in my live sound, that's there. But in terms of DJing, I'll go to Eastern Europe and do Balkan styles. I'll go to India, other parts of Asia. Like I said, I'll just cross all these different eras of time. And there's just a complete freedom when I'm DJing. When I'm doing live with the band, I'm also dealing with other musicians and people. So it's a little more structured. We have to have some idea of what kind of songs we're going to play. And the musicians need to know that to a degree. We still improvise, but I improvise a lot when I DJ. That came from the joy that I bring when I perform. People were recognizing that I was a joyous performer, so I just remember someone saying, "You're a maker of pleasure," and that stuck to me. So I flipped it to pleasure maker, and yeah, it just kind of stuck ever since. I just want to evoke the joy of life through music. I think pleasure is what keeps life from being, miserable, basically. That was great. I had a great time today, and it's cool to perform for some people that support the arts and believe in it. And it's great to perform for all these people out there on the internets around the world that were tuning in. And it just always feels good to do my thing. Like every time you get to perform, it's a blessing. Well, I'm really excited to say there's some new music that is looking to be released this year and also subsequent years, ideally. But I've been putting out some DJ mixes over the years, some more of those, remixes for other artists. I'm producing for some other artists as well, or collaborating with other folks. So just cultivated a scene in San Francisco Bay Area, or kind of jumped on a scene that was already existing and added to it and got in the mix, but worked with a lot of great artists there. So I have many good friends and colleagues in the Bay Area, but I also am working with many artists here in LA and other parts of the world. I'm working with some African singers and artists. I was out in Nigeria last fall, hooked up with this great singer from Liberia named Alexander. He's a beautiful voice, beautiful lyrics, and we're working on some new music. So a lot of collaborations, and also looking to put out a lot of solo work and stuff with my band Afrolicious. Just mini projects going right now. So looking forward to the future. It's going to be beautiful. Well, thank you guys so much for having me today. You know, I really appreciate spending this time together, y'all. Thanks for taking the time. And just want to say that if you dug the music you heard, if you want to know more, you can check me out. I have a website, afrolicious.org, which all the Pleasure Maker, Afrolicious related stuff is funneling through that. And then also on Facebook and Twitter, you have Afrolicious, or on Twitter, Afrolicious Funk, and Instagram as well. And then Pleasure Maker on both Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I guess that's more than both. And yeah, and don't forget to check out worldarts.com. And just keep supporting the arts, y'all. Appreciate that.